Hi friends, I want to talk to you today about finding the right financial professional to work with, how to figure out what you need and who can provide what you need in that regard. We're going to start by talking about money. I like money. I think a lot of people like money, and it's because we can exchange it for things that we want or need, right? I don't like to just have a pile of money. I like to be able to have that money to exchange for whatever I need, a car, a house, food, education for my family, whatever it might be. All right. But while we find money very useful, it can also be complicated, right? Especially when we start talking about investing. Doesn't have to be about investing, but the math around investing gets very difficult, right? Because you have to talk about time and you have to talk about risk, and you end up with a lot of Greek letters in your math formulas. I don't like Greek letters that much in my math formulas. So it gets a little bit confusing for me. All right. So there are professionals out there who work with just money. And some of those might be a financial analyst or a corporate accountant, somebody who's just working with the numbers, understands the math, etc. Then we have people. I tend to like people too. They're often rational, but I had to put often in there because we are not always rational, and that's because we're emotional. Sometimes we're emotional about the things we want and need, and since money helps us get what we want and need, we can be emotional about money. So people can be complicated, somewhat confusing. And there are professionals out there who work exclusively with people, like psychologists or medical doctors. They would work just with people. But what happens when people and money kind of meet, right? Money meets people or people meet money. Well, then some chaos can ensue. And what we need then are people who work in this space. And we're going to call those people, for this presentation at least, financial professionals. That might be somebody you would want to work with to talk about money and your interaction with it. Okay. So going from left to right here, I'm going to start with investment advisors. Investment advisors do exactly what it says they do. They help people manage their investments. And so I put them way down here because at this end, because they work mostly with money, but you still have to understand, like, what are people's financial goals? What is their risk tolerance, right? An investment advisor has to ask people questions to get that information before they can responsibly invest for them. Okay. Now, investment advisor might do other things, but in their investment advisor role, that's what they do. Okay. Now, next coming over is a planner or a financial planner. A financial planner takes a more comprehensive look, typically, at what's going on in your financial life. So not only are they going to think about your investments, but they're also going to think about your estate plan, what happens when you can't manage your money anymore or make financial decisions for yourself. Has your plan got enough risk mitigation through insurance or other methods? So it's a more comprehensive look, but you're still dealing, generally speaking, mostly toward this end, but you are getting more deeply into the people portion of it over here. Okay. Then we have financial coaches who are, we're going to call them in the middle here. Financial coaches. Well, a coach does, a financial coach does what any coach does. A coach educates and motivates. So a coach can tell you, hey, here's what you need to do, and here's how I can help you do it. Okay. And in the realm of your personal finances, and that's what a coach does. So they provide education and then motivation. A counselor does much the same thing, but a counselor's motivating technique tends to be more internal. So they are more people oriented. They might have to explore some issues with you of why you're not doing what you know. Like you might know, I know I need to do this thing with my money, but I keep not doing it. Okay. So a counselor can help you figure out why you're not doing it and help you to get you doing it. Okay. And finally, all the way at the end here, we have financial therapist. A financial therapist, will work mostly all the way down here in the people space, very little in the money space. Now, none of these rules are hard and fast. An investment advisor might operate more comfortably down here and still be an investment advisor, etc. But generally speaking, these are the services and the service providers and where they fall on this sort of spectrum, okay? Now, of these 5, only investment advisors are regulated. Okay, so there are laws pertaining to how investment advisors must operate, but none of the others are regulated. So be aware of that. Okay. Now, on top of the services, we have credentials. Okay, so credentials, because the space is largely not regulated, credentials will help us identify people we can trust and what they know and how they work. Okay, so you have the CFP credential, and I put it down here because CFPs generally work toward this end of the spectrum, mostly money, less with people. Again, no hard and fast rules here, but generally you will find CFPs at this end providing investment advice and planning. Then you have AFCs, accredited financial counselors. Accredited financial counselors generally work toward this end, okay, providing coaching and counseling services. And then you have certified financial therapists, CFTs, who work generally in this space. I would not try to get financial therapy from anybody who was not a CFT, for example. Okay. Now again, not hard and fast rules. A CFP could work all the way down here and provide coaching and counseling. I know people who do it. Okay. An AFC could be registered to provide investment advice. I know people who do that as well. Okay. And a CFT could also be registered to provide investment advice. So there's no hard and fast rules, but generally speaking, you'll find CFPs working down here and AFCs working down here. CFTs all the way down here. Well, so what do we have available at PIM? Well, at PIM, what we have available are AFCs. I am personally a CFP, but I do not work as a financial planner through PIM Tax Services. Okay, so we have 3 AFCs on staff, accredited financial counselors. So what service will they provide? They provide counseling or coaching, and maybe a little bit of planning as well. But we have to be careful with planning because planning is a looking forward exercise. And when you're looking forward as a planner, you start getting into talking about investing for the future. And one thing we cannot do here at PIM is talk about your investments because we are not registered investment advisors at PIM Tax Services. So we can't talk about investment advice with you. But we can do some limited planning and certainly a lot of coaching and counseling. All right. Thank you for watching. If any of that interests you and you would like coaching and counseling services through PIM Tax Services, please let us know.